So for the digital detox, I really didn't find it too difficult. I enjoy reading, meditation, things like that aren't entirely technology based. Anyway, is a way to defrag my mind in a way, so to speak, um, to focus on things. So I spent most of my day making it through about half of Clausewitz on War, and with my pipe. I Both of those aren't really new things that I had to create to get through it. I'll read this usually. I've read this once since January already this year. Um, and I usually tune out a lot of media anyway because it doesn't really interest me unless it's news or actual data. I don't really care for persuasive messaging. I don't hear it. I don't care about advertisements unless there's some sort of deal that I can actually make to save money. Um, it doesn't hold interest to me. It's not relevant to my worldview at that point. So campaigning, all the election flyers that were going around have no interest to me because I don't vote. I can't vote in this election. The result of the election does interest me, so I focus more on news covering that more than I do. I don't really care who wins. I mean, I care who wins, but I have no stake in the game, so to speak. What did strike me, though, was how incredibly useful this is. Standard smartphone. The fact that without that, there is an incredible inherent vulnerability in cross-referencing any information we receive. The idea that without that, my main source of data would have been whatever newspaper I could find in the area. I don't have a radio. Well, I have a satellite radio, but that's through my computer, and I pretty much didn't use that for that reason. But traditional radio, if I was going to allow that as a form of media, which I didn't, but if I was, that, newspapers, and any television. Luckily here, those aren't mostly state-owned, or they have laws of freedom of expression and all that covered on it. It made me think a little bit more as a idea of how easy it would actually be to theoretically control a population if you did not have that type of access. And in that way, this is a great tool against the control of an authoritarian government. I mean, this is one of the things that, with free control of the internet, any bit of information can be verified. Here I have mostly access to any papers on campus. Whereas with this, I have Der Spiegel out of Germany, I have every UK paper, actually all the major United States papers now, Pravda out of Russia, many out of Asia, Al Jazeera. The news and analysis of the world is at my fingertips. And that is an incredibly powerful and useful tool to have when forming opinions and analysis. We can be very careful in what we choose to consume and don't consume in terms of what news sources we do verify and which ones we don't. What information we implicitly will believe to be true and what we believe to be false. And we can verify that in our own way with that. It's a great tool in that regard. If somebody were to come up and give me some ridiculous news story before, when I was not able to access that, there would have been a portion where you would have to believe that in a way because there's no means to verify it. And I believe it was Joseph Goebbels who once said that it was the big lie that if everybody's yelling the same thing, it will automatically become truth, or some derivation of. But the key thing is, without that access to other ideas, the groupthink will take over, and there is the idea that there is truth in that if everybody believes the same thing. So that was a little bit of a feeling, not so much a vulnerability, but reflection on that as to why you do see in some countries there is a need to control the internet. It's the best way to maintain a government. Or not maintain a government, but also maintain an ideology, or censor ideology. This enables me to get just about any ideology you can think of and read about it and possibly be persuaded to pursue it or not. And once an ideology takes hold, you can't kill it. That's kind of the biggest problem with it. So, in a way, a free internet is a very important aspect to maintaining a civil democratic society. And that's kind of the reflection that I came across on. In areas where there's state-controlled media, you can definitely understand how it's possible that it makes sense that certain things are believed and certain things aren't, even though they don't make any sense here. And that mostly stems from the fact that there is no access to other bits of data. So that was the hardest thing that I came to conclusions with. It wasn't really so much the absence of that, it was the absence of the ability to verify, to be. There was a certain level of trust needed that didn't really exist at that point. So that's kind of where you go into. There's a healthy level of distrust that enables you to exercise. And that's my conclusions. It was... yeah.